Hey everybody, Mike Chipperini here again, and I'm down in Shipshewana, Indiana. I drove down today. Right now I'm making a little bit of chow, as you can see. A little bit of chicken on the pan. I got some broccoli I'm going to cook up here in a minute. And the other big thing that I want to do is I got to update my stickers. So I'm going to put on New York, Michigan, and since I'm staying in Indiana tonight, I'll put that up. Okay, so I guess I'll do Michigan first. And this is Michigan. And it's got the big glove. How exciting is that? And then I have Indiana, which is right down below it. There's Indiana, and the last one is going to be New York. And here goes New York. Wow, that's a big deal. Good morning. I'm here at the TriStar RV Service Center here in Shipshewana, Indiana, and I'm having the shade over the cab bunk shade replaced because it started tearing at the ends, and it's not really tearing, it's just coming apart. And I believe that's an Integra, little bit of a flaw in the construction of that, and I'm hoping this will hold up better. And I've notified Integra on this, and it's actually Jayco who builds the Integra Odyssey. So, you know, we made a little notification, let them know. And the other thing is I camped out in a campground last night, Shipshewana Amish campground, and I went to plug in my Hughes Watchdog, 30 amp Watchdog, and it wasn't working. It was just flashing white and it wouldn't click over. And it was hot, so I was getting a little frustrated. So I called Hughes, and Hughes asked me what it was doing, and they said, has it ever been submerged in water? And I says, absolutely not. And he says, take a video of it, send me your address with the video, and we'll go ahead and fire off a new one. So they're sending me a new one, but I needed a surge protector. It was like around 4:30, and I was able to find a little RV place, supply place right nearby. It was only a couple miles up the road, and I managed to get another one from the Industries there. But at any rate, I got another surge protector, and it worked out nice. It wasn't as expensive, but I'm looking forward to getting my Hughes back because I liked it because it was on Wi-Fi as well. So anyway, I'm going to be here for probably a little bit, and then after that I'm taking off for Illinois. But I may stop by the Integra plant or also the Jayco plant because they are one and the same. So, okay, all for now. So I'm now on Highway 55 South, and I just made the turn south, which marks basically the furthest west I'll be going on this trip, which I call the Loop. And now I'm headed south for probably 100 miles or so. And at my destination on this trip, this leg of my journey, Greenview, Illinois. From there I'll be headed over to Tennessee. But so far it's been pretty good. It was a little crazy traffic there up and around Chicago, but right now it's pretty good. And I just want to say that TriStar RV service, they did a good job. The guy's quick, he's efficient, you know, and it's in and out, you know, as much as you can be in and out on the repairs. And you know, I was kind of bummed that I couldn't get a tour of the Integra Odyssey line, but everything's shutting down there, and they just shut down the gift shop yesterday, and it's shut down indefinitely. So I don't know what's going on there, but they didn't want anybody out there on the assembly area where they make the rigs. But when I told the guys how I had a Facebook site dedicated to Odyssey and I do a little YouTube channel, you know, they gave me a couple t-shirts, which was nice, and they're Integra t-shirts. So that was pretty cool of them. And, you know, quite frankly, I wanted to get on the road anyway. So I didn't want to hang around there too long after having the work done on the rig. So all good. And I'm just continuing southward. Hey, so I'm here in Greenville, Illinois, after a long drive from Middlebury, Indiana. And what I was doing was looking for an old friend of mine that I served in Korea with in 1978. And I managed to find him, the Honorable George Adams.
How do?
He and I were, I'm going to give a little lighting here. We'll throw on some light. There we go. So George and I were stationed in Korea in 1977 to 78 together. And that's the last time I've seen him, which is 43 years ago.
Seemed like yesterday.
43 years ago.
Yes, it-
And you know what? Amazingly, he looks the same.
You too. You look exactly the same.
Not quite. Now we're being nice to each other. So anyway, that's what we're doing. I'm cooking a little bit of Italian sausage from Gloucester, Mass. And we're going to sit here and reminisce a little bit. And I'm going to boondock in front of his property. And so tomorrow I'll be taking off for Brewston, Tennessee to go see another Army bud from latter part of my career. And that's all for now. We'll talk to you. The sun is rising over the Illinois landscape. My cockpit, and right now I'm driving south towards St. Louis. I'm not going to St. Louis. I'll make a left eastward before I get there. It's pretty here. A lot of fields, a lot of corn. And now at pretty much 7 a.m. the sun is fully up. While I'm driving along here through Illinois, I figured I'd talk about how I found George. Years back, we connected on Facebook, and so I managed to get his cell phone from him, and we talked on the phone. And it was good to connect with him then, but he no longer uses Facebook, and the signal he has in that town is pretty poor. And he's the type of guy where he just recently upgraded to a smartphone, an older one. And so he's always had a flip phone. But so anyway, I knew where he lived. I knew he lived in Greenview, Illinois. And it's a small town of like 800 people. As soon as I got right into town, there was a bar there. So I went ahead and pulled into the parking lot. I wasn't even sure it was open. I mean, this bar is a small bar. It's only 800 people in the whole town. Well, I went inside, and there were like 4 people inside along with the bartender. Everybody said hello. And I introduced myself, and I said, hey, I'm looking for an old Army buddy of mine that I believe lives in this town. And I said, and they asked who, and I said, George Adams. Next thing you know, they had him on the phone, and within 10 minutes he was at that bar, and we had a beer, you know, and a little toast to each other and hooking up again. And then he drove me down to where he lives at the other side of town, which was only a few hundred yards. And I parked my rig there, and I boondocked for the night. and I cooked a meal inside the rig, fed him a little bit. He doesn't eat a whole lot, but I fed him what he wanted. And we had a nice time, and then we did a lot of talking and reminiscing, and we actually tried to track down one of our old friends who we lost contact with, or haven't even had contact with since Korea. So that didn't work out. You know, we think we know where he is, somewhere in Tennessee, and we'll see how that flies. I might be able to work on it at home a little bit. But anywho, that's how it all worked out. I thought that was pretty cool. Just walk in the bar, ask if they know so-and-so, and next thing you know, you're having a beer with the guy after 43 years. So after a 6-hour ride from Greenview, Illinois, I've arrived in Brewston, Tennessee, and I'm sitting here with my old Army buddy, John Kensmo, who's driving this truck here, and we're checking out his property. It took about 6 hours to get here. It wasn't a bad ride, though. I got to do something about going down those little country roads. Oh. John and I were stationed in Augsburg, Germany together. How long were you there for?
4 years?
4 years? What year did you get there? 82? 82 to 86? I got there in 83. And he and I sat right next to each other on the positions we operated in our field. So I'm going to hang out here for a day, and then I'll figure out the next move. So it's pretty hot here. I've been here a few hours now, and I'm going to head over to Nashville and go to a campground because it's pretty hot. And he doesn't really have hookups for keep the AC running. So it was a good visit with my buddy Johnny, but Chipper's Adventures have to move on. Chipper's Island Adventures.